Man, so I'm pleased to introduce this next guest. We've been trying to get it together for about a week or two now, but I finally made it. Let them know who we got on Rico TV.
Man, you got the one and only OG Felton Jenkins, now known as Pastor Felton, one of the biggest community leaders in the city of Fort Worth, Texas. Man, I am so just grateful to be on this interview with this blessed young man. And hey, I'm gonna give y'all the real news.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that was the main thing that attracted me to want to come interview you, is that you do have the past that you have, but you also have turned that into, you know, being, like you said, one of the leading community leaders out here in Fort Worth. So first, I want to thank you for that, because we don't have enough OG Feltons out here for
Come
sure.
on, that's for real.
So we're gonna start it off the way I like to start it off is we're gonna talk about from the time you was a little baby.
Okay.
Where were you born?
Right here on the south side of Fort Worth, Texas, where they call Hooverland in the Big Tex Projects.
Okay.
Right across the street from the underground school, man. That was my I remember it like it was yesterday. I was like 3 or 4 and still remember.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Okay. So let me ask you this. As far as Hooverland, I'm not from the South Side, but I grew up with a lot of people that are. So I used to hear it a lot in school. So from my understanding, there's Hooverland and then Agland, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was it always like that, or was okay?
Now, before time in Southside was Southside. It was no Agland, with no Hooverland, because Glen Garden was one of the first sets in Fort Worth, Texas, on the South Side. You know what I'm saying? With no Crips, no Bloods. Southside was just Southside. Tell you true, most of the five dudes who was Glen Garden, until LA Run them came down here, and everybody jumped ship and became five dudes. But now Southside was Southside. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't no Agland and wasn't no Hooverland. It was just per Southside.
Okay. So as far as you growing up, were you raised in a 2-parent household?
No.
Okay. So it was just you and your mother, I assume?
Me, my mom, my sister, but she had boyfriends and stuff like that. But to me, they weren't no real role models, because the journey we went down through, because her first husband, you know what I'm saying, used to beat on a lot. And so, we went through some trials and tribulations growing up in that area, and witnessing that myself, it caused us to be in the foster home and get into the foster system. So when it caused to get into that foster system, you know what I'm saying, and trying to come back, and mama trying to, how can I say, bounce back from the things that she allowed the house for to get us taken away, it really didn't work. Because the reason why I said that, coming back home to mama at that time, we had to move to Stop 6 with some of our uncles. Mama was good, you know what I'm saying? She went on drugs or nothing. But one of her boyfriends, a new boyfriend, burned the house down. So when the story get deep, man, it's in my book. The story get a little deep and get a little personal, because my goal is growing up, I play with my G.I. Joes, my Transformers, Gang banging was not on my mind. Matter of fact, I didn't even hear about gang banging. I know the drugs was infecting into our community in the late 80s, but, still my mind was focused on education, going to school, going to elementary and playing with the kids. Make a long story short, once the house got burnt down, then we had to move in the Stop 6 project. And once we did that, for the next 20 or 30 years of my life, it went downhill. And the reason why I say it went downhill, because one day I'm coming from school, I see my mama with a needle in her arm. And I still get emotional when I say that. And I see my stepdaddy and another dude holding my mama down in the bathroom. And my mama was screaming and she was hollering because they was sticking this needle in her arm. Mommy, I didn't know what that mean. I was like a good 6 or 7. You know what I'm saying? Coming from elementary. And they kicked me down the stairs, because I was trying to run up there and save my mom. Not only this happened once, it happened twice. So since then, she was addicted to heroin. And she could never break it. So the next 20, 30 years of our life, I was miserable. She was miserable. We was staying with people. We was homeless. So at the age of 13, we moved back to the South Side. And I got introduced to the drug game. You know what I'm saying? Once I did that, I started paying the rent. I started paying the bills. You know what I'm saying? At the age of 13.
So you've been a man a long time.
A long time.
If you can remember, do you know if how that made you feel?
That made me feel terrible to see my mama hooked on a drug that ruined her life. And not only ruined her life, that's how she lost her life. Because I don't have my mama today because of that addiction. And to see that and then experience my life story for being a drug dealer and being a womanizer, being that man on the street, and because of them demons that I didn't get dealt with at a young age, it led to OG Felton. It led to the alcohol Felton, the ex-pill Papa Felton, the baby mama Felton, because if you don't get that traumatized out for you at a young age, it's going to carry into you in the old age, where people look at it on the outside, but they don't see what's on the inside of you. So that's why I'm so into the youth right now, because I know some of these babies coming from a traumatized home. Nobody want to talk about it, but everybody want to sweep it under the rug and like that child just needs some pills or he just got HDD problems. No, he's dealing with some issues that you didn't get dealt with, mama. You didn't deal with granny. You didn't deal with daddy. So now your baby dealing with it. And I was that baby. So you see my shirt today. I put it on. This me. These are the image of me. This is my organization called Boys and Men. This is the bigger version of me. But all these young men went through something. Now the older me finally got it right, but they went through all the hell. So now I'm paying it back to the younger version of me so they won't have to be me. Woo.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's deep. So boom. Okay. On our timeline, so you go back to the South Side at 13. You don't have to date yourself if you don't want to. You could just maybe giving us an approximate time, but what is this? The 90s when you go back to the South Side?
It was 1988.
Okay, 1988, late 80s.
Late 80s.
What is the South Side, just period, as a neighborhood? What is it like then?
Like then, man, when we went back to the South Side, it was mostly drug infested. That's when the drug game came in, the cocaine part. So I was pushing $10 at a time, making $20. And once the big homies on the block, never mentioned their name, seen me progress in the game, and I had protection around me, they started giving me more. So now it started from 10 to 500.
Wow.
From 500 to 10,000. From 10,000, I'm holding good 30,000 in my apartment in the closet. I was a stash house. Back then we had like Mac 10s and 9s and like this. So everything was in my apartment because we stayed in Glen Garden.
Right.
So not only I was the stash house, not only I was one of the main, you know what I'm saying, source in the apartments that you gotta come to the house and get your work. It was all tied in like that, bro.
As a 13-year-old boy who got all this going on, do you realize, do you understand what it is you're doing?
Man, I understand to the fullest now. Because, like I said, from all the prison time, all the jail time, all the hell and what I had to go through, man, it was a truly wake-up call. Being a man in the block for so long, man, thinking I know for a fact, had over 200 soldiers under me at times. You do this with no hesitation. And just to reflect back on that and look at my life now, man, I got locked up for a murder case I didn't commit. Knew who did it.
At 13?
No.
Okay.
A little older, just going on with the story.
Okay.
Going with the story, just witnessing stuff like that.
Right.
And seeing the trauma in our community, back-to-back killings in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Going to back-to-back funerals. You know what I'm saying? Being in drive-bys myself. I almost been hit so many times myself. Man, I went through it.
Right. Okay.
I went through it.
So you mentioned the 90s. That's kind of the famous murder worth era that everybody talk about. And when we spoke on the phone, I kind of briefly touched on it, and I felt like a lot of Fort Worth kind of got some shine on the as far as with internet and media, like what we doing.
Yeah.
And I think my generation, because I was born in 1990, so I'm a kid who really don't know what's going on.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us how did it get to that point? Because we hear the older people who older than y'all talk about how Fort Worth was kind of slow as far as not mentally, but just as a town. And then that happens, and then boom, it takes off. So what leads up to the Murder Worth era? Like, we know the Bloods and Crips came, but like,
that's what led up to it.
Okay.
Let's keep it real, cause like I said, we started in 1988. The Crips came around in 90 and 91. We was already here. HardHeads was a family. We was not a gang. Our image was NWA.
Okay.
That was our image. We wore Raiders jackets and Raiders hat. And that was our colors, black and gray. We weren't Crips. We weren't Bloods. We were just pure Southside. So like I said, when the Crips came through the Southside, that's when things started changing over territory. It was never territory with us because we was a foundation. HardHeads were foundation. Still to the day, HardHeads were foundation. A lot of people call HardHeads Crips because a lot of them took on their name. We was never Crips. We were straight HardHeads. And most of the Crips was HardHeads. So when everything merged together, we were like, okay, you know what I'm saying? We'll fellowship with y'all. We'll be a brotherhood, but HardHeads stayed neutral. The issue was, you know what I'm saying, when it came territorial between Stop 6 and the South Side and drug gang and people coming out of bounds and being disrespectful, that's when all the killing and stuff started happening. You know what I'm saying? To me, it was never a red and blue thing with me. I had Blood homeboys as well as I had Crip homeboys. I got into it more with Crips than I did with Bloods.
Interesting. Really?
I'm going to keep it 100.
Yeah. So I got a partner who, and we're not going to say his name, and I hope he come from whatever he's fighting right now. But he kind of explained that to me because he from Glen Garden, and he blew my mind when he told me Glen Garden is not a Crip block or set.
No, sir.
And I say, what?
No, sir.
Because anybody that I've ever known in my age group that's claiming Glen Garden, they a Crip. They from the South Side. And so that blew my mind to learn that Glen Garden is not a Crip set. It's not a Crip nothing. It's his own thing.
It's his own thing.
Right. Okay.
Glen Garden University, HardHeads, like I said, we just affiliated, and once Agland came together, it stands for Aggravated Glen Garden. So a lot of people don't know that, because that's where the land started from Glen Garden. Everything originated from Glen Garden. I don't care if you're from Baker Street, you from Canty. If you from that ag, it's Aggravated Glen Garden, because that's originated right there. Then everything moved out to Baker Street. Then all the other street Ramsey and stuff like that. But when you was right there in that area, it was Aggravated Glen Garden.
So what is Glen Garden like in a apartment
complex?
Okay, it is. It's an apartment complex. Okay. Glen Garden, for me, like it's crazy to even be sitting here, because for me, that was easily one of the most false claimed. And when I say false claimed, I mean people who not from over there saying they from over there. Places that amongst my age group. And when I was in school, I would hear a lot of arguments about who started it. And they would say, oh no, this OG started it, and then no, OG Felton started it, and then OG something. So do you know who started it?
The foundation of Glen Garden. I'm going to give you the real spiel, because a lot of people do not know their history. Don't have no history of Glen Garden. OG Ant, OG Felton, OG Michael Bowden, OG Terry.
It's 4 people.
The original HardHeads. Okay. 1988. I still remember. On Graveyard Ship in Glen Garden in the Middle Breezeway. These 4 young men sitting out. You know what I'm saying? That's Graveyard Ship. I mean, that's our time to sell our work.
Right.
We sitting there. We need to come up with a name. And we all start coming up with different names. Then we all come to a conclusion. GGU, Glen Garden University, HardHeads. It's Glen Garden University HardHeads.
Okay.
That's the original HardHeads. Everybody came under us. You know what I'm saying? Even we gave them the rank to be OG, but they're not the original OGs. It's on the 4 original OGs. I'm going to say that again. OG Ant, OG Felton, OG Michael Bowden, OG Terry Stewart. Them the 4 original HardHeads.
Okay. So boom, we transitioning now. So we in the 90s, we in the late 90s. Y'all come up with HardHead. As far as your personal journey, right? Because what my cousin who referred me to you is he was kind of telling me a little bit about the past, and we don't have to go into anything you uncomfortable with talking about. But just to make it simple, he's like, Felton was like that. And I'm like, for real? And he say, yeah. Nah, he wasn't. He was somebody you don't play with. You know what I'm saying? So how do you establish a reputation like that?
Being, say, 5'4" in your neighborhood, and you was raised around the big homies that sold drugs on the block, they didn't play. They bringing in the majority of the work in your hood. They thing is, ain't no weakness around them. I was one of the first young fighters. They used to pay me $10 to fight. You gonna get out there and fight, you gonna whoop them or we gonna whoop you.
Right.
I'm fighting my little cousins. It didn't matter. If they say get them, I don't care who you are, blood or no blood, I better get out there and whoop you. If you whoop me, I gotta fight them. So my reputation, 5'4", back then a little shorter, nah, I'm gonna get you. And I'm gonna make sure I get you the right way. And no gunplay, and I'm gonna shake your hands when it's done. So that right there installed into me. Cause the big homies back then, nah, ain't like these little suckers out here now. Nah, they real big homies. You know what I'm saying? Been to that pen and mean what they say. So I had to prove myself. It wasn't no faking, no shit. I had to prove myself every single day. To be that baby gangster on the block.
Right. So one thing you hear, like your generation is to my generation like the OGs.
Yeah.
So y'all had big homies too. Y'all had OGs too.
Really, I don't say too much of OGs. They the ones supplying us to work. We was our OGs in our own block. Once we came up with Glen Guard, nobody was now our OGs. We was the OGs. We started Glen Guard. They didn't start Glen Guard. We started it. They would start selling work and doing what they was doing, but we started HardHeads. When I mean by big homies, they the ones supplying the works. It was like 5 or 6 different big homies that everybody in the complex was working for. You see what I'm saying? And it was time as we had to fight them, each other. So it was like that.
Man.
You might be working for this person. And sometimes it could be territorial. Oh, hold on. Say, man, I need y'all to take care of that. And we end up fighting each other, showing each other, nah, I mean, this is our block. Right in our complex, this is our block. That's go for Crips, Bloods, it didn't matter.
Anybody.
Glen Guard was the most hated organization in the beginning of the 90s. When we mean every set was against us, almost every set was against us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you kind of hear like the guys my age. I'm gonna give a shout out. To Con and Quan, the twins, the HardHeads twins.
They're my boys.
Yeah. I would always hear them talk about 4-way or no way. 4-way or no way. So I'm assuming that's kind of verbiage came from y'all. That's when it was y'all against everybody.
Yeah, against everybody.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Because you at that time you at the height of doing what you're doing, you getting money. Do you ever view it as, man, I'm tearing my community apart?
At that time, truthfully, because I lost my mama in 2001, I can relate to that and say yes. Because I was going to Morningside Middle School, my 6th and 7th, 8th grade year, with a pocket full of money. And just seeing the additions and it's kind of hard because, like I said, I had to pay the bills.
Right.
So my story, let me be honest with you, my story kind of different. Even though I could say turn down my community, I couldn't see it like that at that time because of the struggle of my mom. I didn't want us to be back homeless. I didn't want us to stay with nobody. And I already knew my mama was an addiction that was hard to shake. And she's dying from this. So my thing is, I got to go get it from my mama.
For facts.
And anything in the world, it's whatever I got to do, in and out of jail, in and out of juvenile, it didn't even matter to me at that time. My mom says now, I got to take care of this woman.
Now, with a lot of money being in the drug game, of course, a lot of BS come with it. Can you remember like the BS that came with it? Like what came with that?
Man, it was a lot of BS came with it. Man, I had a house on Loudon where some dudes tried to rob me, but they didn't succeed.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave that part alone, but they didn't succeed at all.
Right.
They got stopped at the door. Man, then on the other end, I had so much protection. I was the type of person, I had a heart, regardless of what I was doing.
Right.
When you look at New Jack City and you think about the Nino or how he giving back to the community, that was me. It was just not about me selling drugs for my kids. No, I was actually doing things for my community at that time. I still had a heart for my community because I seen the struggles from other moms. You know what I'm saying? The struggles from other kids coming to Morningside with no clothes, no shoes. Me, 14, 15, I'm buying them shoes and clothes.
Wow.
I'm making sure they get a haircut at that age. Because my mentality, even though I had that hood mentality, I still had a heart for my community. Because I seen the struggle. So it was not, I didn't have too many bad vibes around me, you know what I'm saying? Even though I was into it with a lot of people, they still knew, they see me, I'm gonna get you on sight or you gonna get me on sight. We gonna fight or we gonna bust that pistol. So it was times people that said they rolled past me and let me make it. You see what I'm saying? Because they already knew the consequences. So for us that, man, I had beef, but like I said, bro, my beef was always majority of the time inside the circle. Between some of the Pollywoods, beefed up, some other sex beefed up. Like I said, but when it came to the Bloods, I came and put it in mind probably a couple of times I got into it with them. Right. Just on the respect level, who Glenn Gordon was and the foundation was. We against everybody. I don't care who you is. If you come against and try to step on our toes, we gonna step on you. You can be right down the street, we gonna step on you.
Right.
So the big part with me, I always fought it out. You know what I'm saying? We had our shootouts, but now the protection around me, somebody even, they say my name, I ain't even gotta be there, it's on.
Right.
Just like that.
Right. Right.
I don't care what side of town you're on. You say anything about OG Felton at that time, they gonna get you. Then make the phone call and say, we took care of that for you, bro. I'm like, what? And they say, don't even worry about it.
Right. So, when you compare it to today, right? Because I also hear a lot of people from your era talk about how, technology now would make it impossible for it to be how it was back then. Because
that's facts.
There's cameras everywhere. So do you agree with that?
I totally agree. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Instagram. We didn't have none of that. You know what I'm saying? If we had rules and we had regulations, we had standards. We just didn't go to the other side and shoot on nobody. Baby mamas, grannies, kids is off limits. You better not come to the hood and say you got a strike killing the kid. We gonna do you. Nowadays, they taking out everybody. We didn't play that. You better not come back and say you touched a person, baby mama, they kid, they granny, they daddy. No, this is person between me and you, not your family. You decided to live this life. We had rules and regulations. You better not even cross that track without us knowing it. You can't say, bro, we've been in stop since today and we didn't know about it. Now, you finna get in that circle and you finna get whooped.
Wow. Because
you finna cause some hood dry beef and we making our money. We were more about money than gang banging. That's when money was real money. We didn't want nobody to come from the other side and shoot up our hood. We trying to get our money. It's about 50 people out here trying to sell. And you going over there tripping. Nah, we gonna see you. Cause you in violation.
Yeah. Yeah, causing an unnecessary war.
There we go.
And we trying to make our money.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, that's real, man, and that's something I think is lacking from, you said 50 people outside hustling. Well, did y'all ever have to worry about police?
Oh yes, man. It's one officer. I'm not gonna mention his name. He's a close friend of mine right now today. This man used to take us behind Morningside Middle School and always let me go. I always had a stash spot, but he always inspired me, told me I was gonna be somebody. But we had jump out boys for real. We had gang unit for real. We'd chase you down, throw you down, beat you down. It didn't matter because in that era, it had to be done like that. So yeah, the block was hot. Drive-bys, we could be standing in front of the store. You know, one of our homies, I ain't gonna mention his name, he was the blood. Picture of blood back then in Glen Garden. But he was, one of the big ones supplying all the work. And I was one of his workers. So it's EBK with me. Everybody killer. It didn't matter to me. If y'all mess with him, y'all gotta mess with the whole block. Facts.
Right.
So we had Bloods, Crips coming by doing drive-bys because what? He out there. He sat in the front at the store. But hey, we all one family in Glen Garden.
Wow.
That's how deep it was.
Wow. You mentioned earlier that you had got arrested falsely, and we're gonna definitely go on the record falsely.
Yes.
Falsely accused of a murder. What happened? How they end up with you in that mix?
Name by association. I'm gonna say it like this to all my little homies out here with the OG reputation. And you think that's a real reputation? That's not a reputation you want to have when you're an OG. Because that name to them downtown, you the hit man, you the plot man, you tell them to do this and do this by association, by my name. My name. Picked up 3 days later. Did 3 years in the county fighting a life sentence because of my name.
Right. So take us through that. Just take us through that. So how did they get you originally? How did they stop you?
No, I was actually in my house. Mm-hmm. And I walked outside one day, the day that happened. I seen a more car down the street. I seen another more car on the other end. So, I burnt out. Went to the store. I was drinking heavy back then. Came back home. Came back in. A couple of my family members sitting in the living room and say, bro, something to go down. I don't know what, but I feel like something to go down. Next thing I know,
the storm.
About 5 minutes later, once I walk in the house, boom, 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 murder warrant for Felton Jenkins. I said, y'all open the door, man. I didn't resist. They had the guns out at me. I knew a couple of them. They took that mask down. Sorry, Felton, we got to take you in, man. I didn't wrestle with them, didn't fight with them. Put my hands out. They ain't put my hands behind my back. They did me like this. Come on, bro. Wow, man, I'm like, what's this about, man? They like the situation happened GLT. They said you did it, bro. I'm like, come on, man. Come on. No way.
Right.
No way.
So at any point, did you ever feel like, man, they might cook me for this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they hit me with organized crime on top of the murder case.
Right.
And then all the false statements that were wrote on me from family and loved ones till today, they don't even know I know. Wow.
So you got family who wrote false statements on you?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So, and this is just for the viewers and honestly people like me. I've never been through anything like this, but I'm interested to know. So when they take you away from your house and they take you downtown, what's the first thing that happens?
They put you in the room with some detectives.
Okay, and what we know is interrogation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they go to ask you some dumb questions. I give them all the right answers they need to know. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They try to come with the height thing, the short thing. They try to mess with your mind. So after a good 30 minutes, I lawyer up. Man, give me a lawyer. I ain't got nothing to say to y'all. I ain't got nothing to put on record. Give me a lawyer. Plain and simple. Sue me up. Put me in a single cell for about a couple of weeks. Then after a couple of weeks, put me in populations. Then after that, got me a court-appointed lawyer. And it took 3 years to beat that case.
Man, you in the county for 3 years. Tarrant County.
Years. Yes, sir.
Fighting this case. Jesus Christ. Yes. So, I'm assuming they don't give you a bond.
No, $500,000. The whole 3 years.
Wow. Right. Okay. So that, from what I know, that means you got to come up with what, 50 racks to get out. Right. Which is a lot of money for anybody to just have to come up with. So, I know are you calling home at this point? Are you, because I'm trying to picture it in today's world. Yeah. It'll be a whole bunch of free OG Felton on Facebook, whole bunch of talking about what happened, what didn't happen. Man, do you know what's going on outside when you in there? Yeah.
Let me go back. See, because all this led up, I had a sister named Brandy, God's sister. So she was dating this young man, the young man got killed. And so it was like 2 or 3 weeks prior to him getting killed with another club called Fernandez, across the street from Fernandez. So they come out, she with them, she walk in the building, come back, I guess he slapped her or something. So me being me, we gonna box. So we box, I whooped him or whatever. So then 2 weeks after that, this when the situation happened, him end up getting killed. So the whole time that I was incarcerated, they were jumping her, going to her house, kicking in her door, making her life miserable wherever she went to. Threats on the streets, if I ever get out or whatever, they gonna do something to me. But like I said, the hood wasn't having that.
Yeah.
All these fake statements of family and loved ones, defending the person who did it. You know what I'm saying? Who commit the crime, commit the killing. Stuff like that. Then everybody started falling off. You know what I'm saying? I know nobody can touch that $500 bond, so I didn't worry about it. It was just my mindset of the family turning against me.
Right.
My mindset of her getting jumped every time they see her. My mindset like, man, I know I'm coming home one day. But when I do come back home, truthfully, how many I got to take out?
Because that's where your mind is.
Yeah, that's where my mind is.
Even in there, you like, oh, I'm on that when I get out.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because now I'm false accused for something I didn't commit. Then, to be honest, and I never said this, but even the person did it, you wrote a statement against me.
It's a cold game.
And you think I didn't know? So now I'm dealing with that. And I'm keeping 100 the whole 3 years. Facing a life sentence.
Right.
Not for to see daylight. But I'm fighting in there for my life, for my freedom.
Right.
Yeah, it was deep.
Yeah. So in my mind, my first thought, because especially right now, it's a big topic in the culture in hip hop, is pretty much snitching, telling. You never felt like, man, I'm gonna just tell them who did it.
Our G code was too strong in Glen Guard. We had a G code out of this word. You better not break that violation.
Yeah.
Even to the point where you get caught with a sack in your hand and we know you snitch. You gonna get it.
Yeah.
We didn't play that back in the 90s, man.
Right.
I don't care what, you for to be solid 100.
Right.
To complete, if you in this game before you even get put in the game, jump in the game, it was rules and regulations. It was contracts that you got to sign. Basically, you signing your soul over to the devil. So you break these contracts and these laws, we telling you in this contract what's gonna happen to you. So when you cross that boundary, it's gonna happen.
Like those codes, you know what I mean? And it seems like a myth today because you see it, man. A lot of people break that code, but y'all really stood on them codes.
We stood on them codes.
Right. So you in there, you doing them 3 years, you feel like, man, I'm gonna have to do something to somebody when I get out. When do you finally see the light of day? Not necessarily when you get released, but when do you know, okay, I'm gonna beat this case or I'm gonna get out? You
know what I did? I'm gonna be honest with you. After that, I said about a good 6 months in. I say, God, I remember you when I was a little kid. Remember my auntie used to come and take me and my sister to church. I said I started going to church in and out when I was out in the world, but I didn't know you. I say, if you truly my God, you truly my Savior, I ain't seen my lawyer in 6 months. I say, bring my lawyer up here and I'll serve you. I'll lay down my life. I say, God, I don't know you. I just got an image of who you are because I've been the God in my hood. Oof. I say, you show me you my God. I'm in my cell praying this. My lawyer showed up that same night. We talked 30 minutes about my case. We stayed in that booth 2 hours. And the rest of the time we talked about God. From that day forward, bro, I dedicated my life to God. I said, God, help me. Remove the OG out of me. Help me with every area of my life, God, because I need a complete change. I'm the first one started having prayer circuits inside the jail. First one started having church inside the gym. Bringing Crips to Bloods to the one table we eat together. Even the KKK members gave their life to God and started fellowship with us. Seeing people going in and out of jail, coming out of jail while I'm still there. So I'm like, you know what, God? You got me on a different mission. I'm not even worried about that life sentence no more. I'm not worried about none of that because I know you're going to beat me. I started reading this word, got in so deep, memorized so many scriptures, it's still rooted in me. Right here, you said, God, you're going to deliver me from my enemies. You're going to open up these prison doors. Make a long story short, we was getting ready for trial. So they had me down in the holding cell. The judge left his bench and asked me would I take 5 years. I said, I ain't taking nothing. I'm going home. You know you ain't got nothing on me. It's after 3 years. He said, I'm going to hold you for another year. I said, no, you're not. You're not going to hold me for another year. I'm going to be gone. 3 days later, my lawyer came up and said, this case been dismissed.
Boom.
OG Felton never went back to the streets. And when I did hit the streets, I hit out running, grabbing youths, going back to my hood, praying for my young man, Bobby crewing and showing them. This OG no longer bang for the hood. I bang for God.
Man, that whole last 5 minutes gave me chills because my question was gonna be,
yeah,
you just answered my next question. You answered my next question. So OG Felton pretty much, or the previous version of OG Felton got left in Tarrant County.
Yes.
Around what year is this?
That's around 2008.
2008. Okay, so this is when I'm graduating high school. This is when Con and Quan is going crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So my first question is then, with you being who you are, the name you have, how does everybody else receive the fact that you kind of turned it around?
They didn't receive it.
Okay.
Because they heard on the streets that was in jail preach. Oh, he just jailhouse preacher. Nah, man, this is real. So it's a lot of negative things. Man, nah, bro gonna come home, be drinking. He gonna be doing what he was doing. He gonna come back out here gang banging. Man, we know our OG. I didn't have nothing to prove to him. I came back home, ran straight to church.
Right.
When I got licensed in 6 months. I had half the hood in the church. They thought I was playing. After I received my license, they got up and walked out. My right hand to the man above. And that day they knew, nah, bro ain't playing.
You know, I personally felt like, based on the stories that I've heard, we kept that part real PG.
Yeah.
But this part is my favorite part. Is, now we're going to talk about your transformation. At the time of you transforming, are you starting to, I'm sure you're losing friends, you're losing but what is it, how do you feel to see that the Glen Garden thing is still going on? Because now, 2008, that's when I graduate high school. I'm 18. And it's still super hardhead, agland, business going on. So how does that make you feel as in the midst of your transformation?
Well, truthfully, be honest, because when I came home, a lot of the homies tried to do me a get together. I'm like, I don't want it. And the one that I did go to, I was not feeling it. It was hard. Seeing a lot of these young men never been put down. And asking them questions, who is y'all OG, who put y'all down? And they started sending off of Wild's name, people I never heard of. And I had to tell them not your OGs. And to be honest with you, even though I did that transformation, one young man I had to jump out. And I had to ask God to forgive me later on. Because I asked him, I said, do you know OG Felton? And he said, yeah, man, I know OG Felton, man. Whoop the whoop, whoop the whoop. I said, for real, man? I said, you really know OG Felton? Yeah, that's my homie. I said, man, I'm OG Felton, man. He said, for real? And I asked him out right then and there.
Right.
I said, nah, you're not hard here, man. Don't never scream Glenn going out your mouth ever again in your life.
Right.
Ever. But you know, I carry that name now, even when people say it, because I still have some of my mentees say OG Felton. I carry OG Felton as a new birth. A new birth of a person that never had life. Never know what real life feels. So now when people call me OG Felton, man, I let them know that's original God's child.
Okay. I like that.
I'm original God's child now. Because in the beginning and end to now, I was always his. And he had his protection over me. He allowed me. And he allowed the enemy to use me in areas, but when he got me, I was always his original child in the beginning. So now OG Felton stands for original God's child.
Right. Man, that's powerful. That's powerful. And then, like I said, like we said at the beginning, man, I think during the time when Real Tune TV shined the lights on the OGs from the 90s, I feel like a lot of them lacked growth.
Yes.
They lacked this type of message that you giving us. Yes. So, man, I'm very grateful for it. So, you seeing people, you see in the hood has grown immensely. You got people from right over here, from this area, because I went to South Hills High School, which if we jump out right here on Alta Mesa, walk down here, bust a right on McCart, we right there. We got a lot of people from this area, because I'm from Forest Hill, but my sister got in so much trouble at OD Wyatt that my mama said, "No, I'm not sending my boys there. We're going to use a lady address from our church and send y'all over here." So that's why I went to school over here. But it's a lot of people from over here, born and raised over here, that's super Glen Garden, super hard head. And so I know that's kind of tough to see it's grown like that. So let me ask you this. Did you feel like, man, what have I done when you seen how it grew, or what have we done?
I'll say what we done, because I still had that old law. You know what I'm saying? You had to get put in the trash can. You had to get jumped in 44 seconds. Then to come home and see all these group of young men that I don't even know. Don't even know who they is, who put them down, and they say they hard heads. And the reason why I said it, let me go back. Because I still had the 44 days. No, I still put that together and make sure they safe. So one year I put it together. We had it at Elko Lake. And to make a long story short, you know, end up with hard heads and people coming showing love. So a group of hard heads and another group of hard heads got started beefing. And I stepped in the middle like, hold on. Who is y'all?
Right.
I know them. Are we 4-4 too? Excuse me? But y'all beefing with another 4-4? I said, we're not going to have that tonight, man. No, we're going to resolve this right now, man. We're going to put all this in a circle. We need to get some understanding. I've been gone too long to come back to see 4-4 toe down like this. You Glen Garden, but you don't know this Glen Garden. You 4-4, but you don't know this 4-4. Come on, man. It was never brought up like that. Glen Garden is a family. Ain't no different hardhead, ain't no different OGs. No, it was 4 original OGs. And those we say were OGs like T-Bone and stuff like that, we passed down the rank. But saying you're an OG, it was never built like that. But this division y'all got going against each other was never built like that. So that blew my mind.
Right.
And that made me put away more and more, because I'm like, no, man. I ain't finna get myself. I just came from an organized crime and being locked up for murder. I've been home for a couple of years. I'm not finna engage myself into like this. Even though I'm part of that brick and that foundation, I don't think I can give y'all the rules and regulations. Now, y'all gotta walk with it, but I'm finna walk the opposite way.
Right.
I did too much.
Facts. So now we're gonna talk about what you did for what you do and did for the community, because when you was talking about your upbringing and how you had the mind to take care of people as a kid, I'm thinking as you saying that, like, man, so Pastor Felton or community leader Felton has always lived in you too.
Yes, he have.
He always been in there too. So I seen in the newspaper or on the news that you have a community reform initiative.
Yes.
Right. And we're gonna talk about that tragic day over there on Jessamine, where four young boys got killed, and you said these were your words. I was hurt deeply because the change we need to put in our community is how can we grab them and love them? Jenkins said, referring to his cousin's death.
Yeah.
So with the young kids now, because ultimately my age group, we almost to the point where I feel like you too old to be. I'm 34. So I feel like my age group, you too old to be still, you know what I'm saying, misled. So now we talking about the young group, the group that got hurt that night. What do it take for us to grab them?
We gotta start at elementary.
Right.
Let's be honest, man. Some of these kids right now, they got the mindset, they say, they got a word they call demon something. Demon time. Mm-hmm. So they let me know right now, they ain't about money. They ain't about drugs. They already know their life gonna get taken. Then right there, it's gonna be harder to reach because they already got in their mind, they already got a couple of bodies under them. And now they seeking out getting another body till it's their time. Because they on demon time. So what we got to get now, we got to go all the way to the elementary school level. Grab them babies before they get to middle school. Then get to middle school babies before they get to high school. At least you done poured into like 8 years into this one baby or to this youth going down the wrong path and you might win them. Right now, it's almost impossible. I told somebody a couple of months ago, I'm not being funny. I put it on Facebook. Let them kill themselves. And like, bro, you a pastor, say you understand what I'm saying. You ain't realizing what I'm saying. They don't have no heart for you. They don't have no heart for that 5-year-old baby they get life got taken. Them people I had to do that kind of like for. You see the tears in my eyes when I walked in that funeral home, seeing that 5-year-old and that 1-year-old baby. And you think I'm going to have a heart for the person that killed them? Lord, forgive me, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. And they constantly kill 5-year-olds and constantly kill kids, but ain't nobody saying nothing. So you want to ask me what I think about it? No, let them meet each other at the light and go and do what they do to each other.
Right. No, I agree. And I've gotten the same response. Like, wow, bro, you really saying that? And here's the thing. You are a preacher, but man, once again, we don't need the traditional preacher. We don't need that no more. We don't need the traditional preacher who act like he's perfect and we can't relate to because he don't talk how we talk.
And I don't want to cut you out. Even with my cousin, even in that interview right there, they asked me, and I heard a lot of people, and I said this, I can't justify his wrongdoings. I said I'm hurt and I'm crying, but I can't justify his wrongdoings. He knew what he was going to do. You know what I'm saying? That's already premeditated. He already knew. Him and the other person, the person that was with, even the person that was going to steal from him, even though they lost their life, he already knew what he was going to do. So how can I justify that? How can I get on this news person say my cousin and this? No, he wasn't. He already had his mind made up to do evil. I'm not going to justify that. That just means I was in the game. When I was out there wrong, I got arrested. I did that. When I was doing drive-bys, I did that. If I would have lost my life, don't justify me losing my life by my own wrongdoings. Never. You don't justify nobody wrongdoing when they're going to do evil. I'm not for the protest and march for nobody doing evil. I'm going to say this, and I want this to be for the records. That's like when the officer kills somebody and that dude pointing a gun at the officer, how can you justify that and say that's the officer's fault?
Right.
No, he knew better. He had many warnings to drop that gun and put that gun down, but he turned the gun at the officer better shoot first.
Yeah, he gonna blow him
So
down.
why we gonna march and turn down our city and justify some evil just to get some publicity? Not me. I'm gonna keep it real and 100 with you.
No, I love it. I love it, man. We don't have enough of this. I commend you because a lot of people not brave enough to be this real, to keep it this real. Like, what you gonna do? Tell him, sir, please put the gun down. No, you gonna shoot. So, like, we gotta. What it sounds like is coming from you, which is what I agree with. We gotta start holding ourselves accountable.
Yes.
For the wrongdoing that we doing in our community, because that's the only way where it matters. So Here's another quote of yours that I got out of a news clip. I go into drug houses. I go to the car washes. I walk anywhere. There could be guns anywhere, and I walk in the midst of guns and love on these kids, but I can't do it by myself. We all need each other, he said, referring to you. Now, I want to be a real leader. I want to show these kids, no matter who you are or what you've been through, how many times you've been to prison, how many felonies you got on your background, how many kids you got, it doesn't matter. You can make that change. Look at me. When you walk into these places, do they receive you well?
A lot of places do, because I've been doing the footwork 14 years. This not nothing new. So when I walk in anywhere, it can be a club. I can shut the club down and pray. Walking in schools, walking different environments, and they receive me because how I approach people, and they see me, I say, man, I got a story for y'all. Some kids will start laughing until I start telling the story, and they'll sit straight up, and they'll be amazed, like, nah, man, no way, you was out there doing what? And I could relate to them, and I tell them, I'm you. I'm just a different version, a grown person, but I'm you as a child. I'm you as a teenager. I'm you to the primitive stages of your life. I'm you. But this is the better version of me where you can be. So I import that to them and show them. Tattoos, Glenn going everywhere. Bullet holes. I can show you, I can prove who I was. But you won't know that now. Because of the condition I am now, how God changed me. But I'm you. I can take you down there. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to condemn you. I don't care if you got your pants hanging down. I don't care if you smell like weed or alcohol. I'm not that type of minister. I'm the hood pastor. I'm not the pastor standing behind the pulpit and give you 60 sermons, but not worry about your soul. Only thing I'm worried about your money. I don't want your money. God wants your soul. So I'm here to help you change your soul. If I can get your soul, then God gonna get your heart.
No, that's what we need. That's what we need. That's what we need, man. Like, bro, I'm once again very happy that you agreed to sit down with me.
Yes.
It turned out better than what I was expecting, because honestly, I didn't know that you were still this, what's the word for it? I didn't know you were still this maybe I want to say hip. I don't know what to call it, but yes. but I can tell that it's still you're not a stuck up guy at all, pretty much.
Love everywhere.
So, man, what's that right there?
Man, I'm gonna put this back on the map. And it's crazy you said this, called Fallish, from a gangster to a preacher. Man, number 2 gonna come out real soon, but that book gonna be called Boys and Men. This book is part of my life story. It goes back from all the way, I remember from the age of 4, all the way up to what happened to me in 2008. It got some stuff in here, man, will blow a lot of people's mind. They won't expect that I live or I've been through. It's some stories in here, man, talking about forced from womanizer, Glen Garden, my drug days, and just a little bit of part about me becoming a pastor. But this book is very important to put in your hands, your youth hands. And I still got a lot of copies, and I'm getting some more made, because until I get a million sold, I ain't gonna think I'm gonna start on the next book, because this story need to be in everybody's home, the library, the bookstore, on your cabinet. It need to be in your car. It need to be in your church. You know what I'm saying? It need to be in your church for real. Because I'm going to say it like this. We are the church. The building is just a place we go worship. So when you don't give the building a foundation, how can the building have a foundation? The building is not the foundation. The person is the foundation. So if they don't have the knowledge and understanding, the word of God said, my people perish from a lack of knowledge. This is the knowledge how you can rebuild a community and a young man, young woman going down the wrong path. And you rebuild it with the word of God. But you can't have judgment. You got to have God. And this book is all about that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Where can we find it? If like, I know I got my copy, you know what I'm saying? Yes. But let's say I'm somebody in Ohio that's watching this, and I want that. How would I get it?
Man, phone number 817-448-7279. I don't mind giving you my phone number. I'll mail it to you. I'll ship it to you. Because like I said, I got copies. I had it on Amazon, but through a little, I ain't gonna go there, but I took it out. But I got somebody that make my books for me. So if I got to ship it to you, I don't care where you get it, I will ship it to you and make sure you get it. Once again, 817-448-7279. I still got about 50 on me right now. But man, guaranteed, everybody that read this book, even they had tears in their eyes, or they can't believe the person they looking at right now is still alive. Put it like that.
Right. So, man, as far as if let's say I'm in Wisconsin and I want to just holler at you, is that number safe to call?
That number safe to call, man. That's been my number for my business number all the way up. Ever since I've been home, that's been my number, and it's still my number. I'm not changing it. I'm a type of person. I'm not one of them persons got a big old hat on. I'm not one of them persons don't think I'm too mighty to talk to people. Nah, man, everybody got my number. And you can reach out and talk to me. I'm normal. I'm human. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a super Christian. I ain't been a Christian all my life. I'm a servant of the Most High God. And being a servant of the Most High God, you got to serve others with love and respect. And that's what Felton Jenkins is all about.
Yes, sir. So on that note, we're going to end it right here. Hopefully we can do this again real soon. I'm going to read that book. I'm going to come back with some more questions.
Yes.
Without giving the book away, though, of course. And man, once again, I appreciate you for letting me come and sit and do this with you. So, man, we signing out. We love y'all out there. Let's go.